We could go into lots of charts and stuff, but I thought it was much simpler just to notice how Porter Stanbury expresses this. Here's why there are no jobs in America. Here's the deal. You're going to start a business or expand the one you've got now. It doesn't really matter what you do and what you're going to do. I'll partner with you no matter what business you're in as long as it's legal. But I can't give you any capital. You'll have to come up with that on your own. I won't give you any labor. That's definitely up to you. What I will do, however, is demand that you follow all sorts of rules about what products and services you can offer, how much and how often you pay your employees, and where and when you're allowed to operate your business. That's my role in the affair, to tell you what to do. Cool, huh? Now, in return for my rules, I'm going to take roughly half of whatever you make in the business each year. Half seems fair, doesn't it? I think so. Of course, that's half of your profits. You're also going to have to pay me about 12% of whatever you decide to pay your employees, because you've got to cover my expenses for promulgating all of the rules about who you can employ, when, where, and how. Come on, you're my partner. It's only fair. Now, after you've put your hard-earned savings at risk to start this business, and after you've worked hard at it for a few decades, paying me my 50% or a bit more along the way each year, you might decide you'd like to cash out, to finally live the good life. Whether or not this is fair, some people never can afford to retire, is a different argument. As your partner, I'm happy for you to sell whatever you'd like, because your agreement says if you sell, you pay me an additional 20% of whatever the capitalized value of your business is at that time. I know, you put up all the original capital, you took all the risks, you put in all the labor, that's true. But I've done my part too. I've collected 50% of the profits each year, and I've always come up with more rules for you to follow each year. Therefore, I deserve another final 20% slice of the business. Now, I'm sure you think my offer is reasonable and happily partner with me, but it doesn't really matter how you feel about it. Because if you ever try to stiff me or cheat me in any way of my fees or rules, I'll break down your door in the middle of the night, threaten you and your family with heavy automatic weapons, and throw you in jail. That's how civil society is supposed to work, right? This is America, isn't it? That's America with a K, by the way. That's the offer America gives its entrepreneurs. And the idiots in Washington wonder why there are no new jobs. Because the smart money is going offshore elsewhere to do these very things. As I was looking for clips to get across some of these, I stumbled on another one that I just couldn't resist including here, if you'll let me, on Obamacare. I'm not sure exactly where it came from. It's attributed to Donald Trump, and it probably was, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt here anyway. Let me get this straight. We're going to be gifted with a health care plan we're forced to purchase and fined if we don't, which purportedly covers at least 10 million more people without adding a single new doctor, but provides for 16,000 new IRS agents, written by a committee whose chairman says he doesn't understand it, passed by a Congress that didn't read it, but exempted themselves from it, and signed by a president who smokes, with funding administered by a Treasury chief who didn't pay his taxes, for which we'll be taxed for 4 years before any benefits take effect, by a government which has already bankrupt Social Security and Medicare, all to be overseen by a Surgeon General who is obese and financed by a country that's broke. Is there something wrong with this picture? That does sound like Donald Trump, doesn't it? I don't want to do him an injustice, but I think that's it. The point of all of this is the United States is not immune from the results of its current fiscal policies. The problem is they're treating this as if we have a problem in liquidity. If you have a business in trouble with liquidity, you can solve the problem by getting some cash or some borrowing. Our problem is there's too much debt. Our problem is not liquidity, it's solvency. If you have too much debt, the answer isn't more debt. We're doing all the wrong, we're making it worse and worse and worse and worse. Some people argue that's deliberate. I won't get into that debate. The worst day for Americans in 2011 will be the day that the dollar is vetoed as the world's reserve currency. I understand that if you go through Singapore trying to give somebody a $100 bill, they won't take it. They don't want dollars. We're beginning to see that happen. China, the IMF, everywhere you look, you see people preparing for, pushing for the relief of the dollar as the world's reserve currency. Some people are proposing baskets, some people are doing other things. Clearly, the destruction of the dollar is almost complete. When the Federal Reserve can no longer simply print more money to bail us out and pay its debts, the cost of everything will go up. See, the only reason we can print more money is because that money is accepted as a world currency. When that stops, that paper is worthless. The day that the dollar is no longer the world's currency is the day that your gas pump will probably cost you somewhere between $5 and $10 a gallon, maybe more. What's that going to do to the cost of the goods that are shipped? What's that going to do to the cost of food on the shelves in the stores? What's that going to do to commuting patterns? The country is going to come apart, I believe.